So our learning goals is really for these 5 main reasons. It's to build a connection between our students and our staff together, students with each other, and students with the school. Our kids are really meant to be at school physically on campus, and it's been a while, it's been 12 months. So that habit has to be rebuilt slowly and safely. So we really wanted to give families the opportunity and the option to bring kids back to connect. It's to build that community. It's to see you guys, parents, on campus again, but also the students to build community within each other, in that classroom, and also with their teachers. And of course, it's socialization. That is heavily learned in group settings. And that's one of the most important things a school teaches in addition to all the academics. And if you ask your child the most memorable thing that they remember for the day, it will be recess time. It will be break time. It will be lunch time, because that's when most things happen and that's what they look forward to the most. It's also trust. It's rebuilding that trust with you, mom and dad and grandma, grandpa, for you guys to drop off your child at 8:30 and let them go and say, okay, I'm going to trust you with my most precious cargo for the next few hours. And that trust needs to be reestablished again. And it's independence. Reteaching your child how to do things on their own without your support right next to them, and also ask for help if they don't understand something. So it's for these main reasons and for these goals that we are providing this hybrid learning option. So learning models will happen in 2 cohorts. Cohort A will come onto campus Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8:30 until 11:30. Cohort B will be on campus on Wednesdays and Fridays from 8:30 to 11:30. And there will be a little commute time, a lunch time embedded, and then learning will continue at home, whether that's independent or live with the teacher again. So 3rd and 5th grade, the transition to this new model will happen the week of April 19th. On Monday, everybody will be on distance learning, so it'll still be at home on the computer. And Group A will come onto campus for that 3 hours, and there'll be some instruction together, and while Group B and C, which is distance learning, will learn from home. And then Group B will come into campus on Wednesdays, while Group A and C learn from home. So we're going to flip-flop a little bit. Everybody takes lunch at the same time. And in the afternoon, 100% will be distance learning at home, and that'll be in smaller groups or one-on-ones or whole group, depending on what the teacher's schedule looks like. So here's a sample schedule of one of our grade levels. I'll show you how they broke it down. One of the things that was the biggest thing for our teachers when I asked them about how to develop schedules is they wanted to make sure that the students who remained at home for the day still got the same level of instruction and learning as to the students who came onto campus. They wanted to make it as equal and fair as possible. They didn't want the kids at home to lose at all just because they weren't on campus for that day. So they wanted to make sure that was still embedded and created in their schedules. So your teacher, if they have not, for 3rd through 5th grade, the communication will be coming sometime next week if they haven't already sent to you. They'll be sending you a letter with all the details of what they need to bring and also the schedule. Because the schedule, whether you're cohort A or B or distance learning, will change to a degree. It's not going to stay exactly the same, although we've tried really hard to keep it the same. I know teachers have worked hard to do that. It will change a little bit. So starting April 19th, expect that to change just a little. Like when they're taking breaks, when they're taking lunch, all of that is going to change a little bit. There's a sample classroom of what one of our classrooms looks like. Every student will get an individual cubby for them to put their learning materials. They will have a name on it, and also the desks are stationed 6 feet apart. As you can see, one of the desks are here. Teachers are 6 feet apart. They have rolling barriers, and some classrooms could even have desk barriers, and students are really well 6 feet apart. And in an average class, there's about 8 to 10 students. And so it really provides for safely and socially distant, but also really be able to interact with each other and still feel like a class. So recess and play yard, we wanted to make sure that students had access to socialization and playtime, and we'll be rotating that throughout. Cohorts will have to remain together, meaning they cannot play with another class. They still remain in the same class, but they will be having access to playground with basketball courts or safe equipment. It could be like football that throw back and forth, or it could be jump ropes or hula hoops or hopscotch or whatever it may be. And then they have a large field they can play in. They also have the playground structure, and that will rotate regularly, so a child will get access to different playground. And they will also have time for snack time. Their recess time is also their snack time, and they'll have tables like you see here where it tells you how to be socially distant and still stay and sit down while they enjoy their snack. So they'll have 15 minutes of break time for either or of those things. So ingress drop-off, this is where I need a lot of the parent support to make sure that we are dropping off students the most efficiently and safely as possible. So dropping off your student by 8:30. Parents, by the time we get to the 3rd and 5th graders, we will have about 110 students on campus a day. That's about 110 students, grades K through 5th grade, who will be wanting to check in at 8:30. So please, I know you guys remember how the drop-off was a little hectic. It's not going to be as hectic as that because it's a quarter of what it would normally be. However, the process takes a little longer because we have 2 stations they need to stop by. So please plan your time accordingly. It may, the first day that you drop off your child may take a little bit, like 15 minutes of an average. Today, we had kindergartners for the first time, and it didn't take that long because we only had 18, 17 kids. But by the time we get to 3rd and 5th grade, we'll have a lot more kids wanting to do the same thing. So following these directions really will ensure that you guys are in and out quickly, and that we are not lingering or loitering together unsafely. So completing the health screening at home, that takes the longest time. We need to do a health screening for every single student that you are bringing onto campus. So if you have multiple grade levels, they need to be completed for that child. And I will give you specific instructions on that. So station 1 is showing that you completed the health screening. You will be in the car. We really ask that you don't walk up, because when we walk up and we actually wait in line, more families are congregating together and actually safer in the car. So we actually request, if you can drive here, to drive in your vehicle through the drive line instead of coming up to the walk line. Station 2, after you have completed the health screening, parents, you stay in the car, you drive off, your child gets out of the car, and they walk towards temperature check. As shown in this picture, there are markers on the floor where they are waiting 6 feet apart, and we do a temperature check. It takes really quick, in less than a few seconds, and then they will be given a locator name badge that also locates what their room and their teacher is, and they will be directed by proctors where their classroom is, because that first week they won't necessarily know where their classroom is because it's the first day on campus. So they'll be directed there, and then probably after that first week they'll know how to find the class on their own. Teachers will be in the classrooms by 8:30, so you guys cannot drop off children earlier than 8:30. They will be waiting outside, and we won't have staff waiting available for supervision before 8:30. So don't come before 8:30, but we need to come between 8:30 and 8:45 because instruction and learning will happen live beginning at 9 o'clock. So teachers will be in class to receive students starting at 8:30. As they walk in, students are going to place their personal belongings, they're going to wash hands, and they're going to be situated. And as their fellow students walk into their classrooms, everybody will be doing kind of that sanitizing kind of protocol. And then at 9 o'clock, learning live will happen with everybody, cohorts A, B, or C. If you arrive later at 9 o'clock, please bring them straight to the main office. You can walk them up at that time because our health screening and temp check will be closed at that time. And if you're running really, really late, we ask that you consider a distance learning for the day, because students are really on campus only for 3 hours. So missing a lot is really gonna just interfere with their learning. So if you're running really late, then we request that just doing distance learning for the day actually might be a better idea. So that's ingress, egress. Let me show you a few more things. So this is one of the most important things, and it takes the most time. So if you have your phone on you and you're not actually listening on your phone, you can turn on your camera and take a picture of this QR code, and it should pop up the survey for you. This has about 3 to 4 pages of health screening questions for your child. you will need your student's email address. Their school email address is the same email they log in to their Google Chromebook and also to Google Classroom. So you should know their email address already. So you need to put your child's email address, not yours. But after you do it once, there's a way that you could actually input your phone number so that it actually sends you a reminder text message to remind you every day whether to complete it. However, that first week, I'm going to be sending you reminders through Parent Square so that you have ample time to complete it at home. To be quite honest, this is what took the longest time. Parents who forgot to do it, they're waiting in their car to do it or walk up to do it. It takes a good couple of minutes, but couple minutes times multiple families, that's what causes the backup and the traffic. So doing it ahead of time and save this green check mark. After you do all the questions and you pass, you'll get this check mark. You will have your student's name and there will be a date and time stamp. That's what I will need to see for your child to go through station 1, which is the health screening. So either take a screenshot of it or save it on your internet browser. A lot of the parents forget to save it and they close it out. And so then I ask you just to save that screen because I need to be able to see that as you walk up for health station 1. So that's the health screening. And this is the same screening we all have to do as a staff too. Or you can print it out too. You can print it out the green screen. If you have a child that's walking to school, they will need to have this printed out with them or on their phone. Some of my 5th graders, they asked about walking or biking to school. So this is another view of the drop and pickup. So for 3rd through 5th grade, where you will drop off student is going to be different than where you pick up your student. Okay, so where you drop off your student is going to be at the upper car line, which is right by the cafeteria. I'll show you a different picture. I know this map is kind of confusing. And you're gonna pull all the way up to where you see number 1, which is that big red stop sign. You'll see lots of signs on that day, so you're not gonna get lost. But please pull up all the way, be ready to show your health screening. You're gonna stay in the car, and as soon as the staff says, okay, you're good, then your child could get out of the car and they'll walk to the health screening. That's the drop off. But the pickup, you're gonna follow that yellow route. That's the lower campus pickup because your 3rd through 5th graders will be walked down to our wheel because we want to keep our students safely and 6 feet apart when they're waiting for our parents. Remember that we have kinder through 5th graders being picked up at the same time. So in order to kind of disperse the traffic and in order to also keep our students separate, they'll be waiting for you in that wheel. It looks like a little pizza right there. They'll be safely stationed apart. There'll be proctor supervising. You will also get on the first day this little name placard. It's going to have on a cardstock color paper your student's first and last name, their grade, what cohort there is, and their teacher. We ask that you put that in your car's dashboard on the right-hand side because proctors will be able to identify your student based on that placard. So we know if you're, let's say, green, your child is in 4th grade. So we know who to call for and we'll be able to quickly read your child's name and we'll be radioing to a different proctor to send over so-and-so. And so then it'll be, we'll move the pickup line a lot more quickly that way. By after week 2 or 3, our proctors are really good at recognizing the cars and your faces, but parents, because you wear masks or you wear sunglasses with masks and or hats, it's really hard to detect who you guys are sometimes. And so we came up with this little short, clever way to try to quickly identify which student belongs to which cars and families. Okay, so that will be given to you on the first day and just have that with you whenever you pick up your child. So again, to enunciate, dropping off will be upper car line where you see the blue line. Pickup will be the lower car line, which is the yellow line. And it's okay, we'll have people to direct you. You don't have to remember, but just to let you know, it'll be a little different. So again, this is drop off where the cafeteria is. That's where the checkpoint is. And then they'll get out of the car and station 2 will be their 10-second locator badge. So pickup 11:30 is when we are picking up our students. Okay, so by 11:30, between 11:30 and 11:45, we would like the child to be picked up. If they're not picked up by then they will be walked up to the main office. Of course, we don't want to congregate and mix cohorts. So if we have too many people together, we won't have enough supervision. So we really ask your support to have your kids picked up on time. Okay, school supplies. So things that students will need at school that we're going to provide for them. We're going to give them a headset, which is actually going to be brand new. They'll be given pocket folders, pencils and erasers, crayons, markers, paper, notebooks, rulers, whiteboards, glue, scissors. All these things will be provided for them. They'll be kept in their individual cubby, and those are not going home. Those are just things that will be used individually at school. They do need things like that at home, but we're asking them to just keep it at home. We don't want too many things going back and forth between school and home. What will go back and forth is a backpack. They do need their laptop, and it has to be a school laptop. Personal laptops do not connect to the internet at school, and it needs to be fully charged. So remind your student to charge it the night before. Do bring your charger though, because we will be able to charge it while they get a loaner laptop. We just don't have charging station at every single desk. They will have to bring also their books. Their teachers will be very specific about what books to bring, so please look out for that message from your teacher. The 2-pocket folder might be the only thing that also goes back and forth from school because they might have their work there. And any personal items, including a water bottle. For health and safety, I've gone over this before, but I wanted to kind of show you guys. There's a sink in every single classroom for them to wash hands upon and exiting a classroom. Every restrooms are going to be more frequently cleaned, and it's going to be 1-person occupancy. And we will be monitoring those restrooms with the campus aide frequently. There's safety signs all across campus. We have increased our cleaning protocol, and all the classrooms will be disinfected, sanitized, and fogged nightly. And we also have protocol for just in case there are COVID cases. There is a parent handbook that I have linked for you guys. It tells you what to do if there is a positive case at home and how to report that to us. And also if there is a positive case in your cohort, how we communicate that with you guys. So all of those expectations, we follow the protocol of Department of Public Health. And that has been outlined for you in the parent handbook as well. So things to prepare, we talked about laptop and charger. Make sure your student has access to their username and password. Your students in 3rd through 5th grade, so they should be actually pretty good at logging on by themselves now. Dressing appropriately for weather, layers are best, closed-toe shoes. Label all items. So many jackets get left behind, so please label them. That way we can find it to the appropriate owner. Snack bags, water bottles, clothing, label all of them. Plan to prepare a healthy snack for your child. They might get hungry in between. They will be able to eat during their recess time, and a water bottle. All our water stations, drinking stations, are no longer operational because they're communal water stations. So your child needs their own water bottle. We highly recommend an environment-friendly one, but otherwise they won't have access to water at school. They should be wearing a mask. If you want to put a spare one in the backpack or tissue or hand sanitizer, you can. We have extra ones in the classroom, so just in case it breaks, do not worry too much about it. We have plenty for them. Talk to your child about how to wear a mask, hand washing, sneezing, coughing etiquette, keeping their hands out of their mouth and nose, how to properly use a restroom. Their public restrooms, and adults to go in there with them to help them, so that's something they need to be able to do independently. I think our 3rd through 5th graders should be pretty good with all of these. I think the only thing to make sure is that they pack up everything that they need to bring home, and that they're not just leaving things behind. It's not that they don't know. Sometimes they're just rushing, so they forget that there's some things that need to be brought back home, or how to log on to their Google Meet. So having their username and password maybe somewhere nicely tucked into their backpack or notebook or laptop would be helpful. We do have access to those, of course. Other important items. If your child is going to be sick, you still need to report an absence. However, if you feel like they can still continue on distance learning, then you can continue on distance learning. Just let your child know, and they won't be counted as absent. But of course, if they're super really sick, then please report an absence. Your help at home to screen your child's temperature and really asking them the questions of, do you have a headache? Do you have a stomach ache? How are you feeling? Those really help us make sure that everybody is kept safe and that we can keep our schools open. So I know in the past, maybe if they were a little bit sick, we would just tell them to go to school, but these are the times we actually need to err on the side of more caution than anything. So please make sure you're asking those questions. If your child has allergies or need to take medications, they need to come with a doctor's note, and a parent needs to actually complete a paperwork and needs to be logged in. So please reach out to us to get directions on how to do that. And we hope that actually gets on file before the first day of school. So if there's medication that needs to be administered, we can do so. Think Together is still operating normal hours. So if your student is in Think Together, we actually work really well with them for the ingress, egress. Nothing has to really change. Music, dance, and PE will probably happen virtually still. We don't have the directions yet to do dance or PE yet in person. So that will happen virtually on Mondays. We do not allow parents or volunteers to be on campus. Only students and staff are allowed to be on campus. So parents, after you drop them off, you do have to say bye. You can't linger, you can't loiter, you can't walk up to campus anymore. Campus is actually a closed campus since last year. So there's no visitors on campus. You guys all we need to check in at the main office for that. No outside parties or food except the one that your child is going to bring for snack. We don't allow students to share any food, and no personal play equipment to bring back and forth either. We will provide plenty of play equipment to be shared among that cohort and use safely. So please don't bring any balls or any type of other type of play or toys. And changing of learning models or cohorts. If you want to switch from A or B, we cannot do that because we need to maintain the separation between A and B cohorts. We need to maintain and establish that cohort. However, if you want to go to distance learning, that is easy to do. So if it doesn't work for you, we can revert back to distance learning at any time. You can just reach out to us and we can make that change for you. I went through a lot of information, parents, so I'm going to stop the recording and open